amazing what I saw again. What the father of Christian, I mean Julio, what he's doing, the fields, they are huge. Everything is clean, fantastic. Then what impressed me, it's also the plant itself. There were big changes also, big investments, I think, in new technologies, cutting the wood and things like this. So in 1 year I saw quite big differences, improvements. Yeah, looking forward for the future.
So each one of these trays holds 96 little holes, and what they'll do is they take the seed, and the seed is mixed with white ashes. So the soil will be prepared, and they start spreading it that way. The reason for the white ash is just so they know exactly where they spread seed already. So when they're spraying around, they get a good even spread. After the seed will pop out, and I've been watching it, it was real nice. Just 6th, 7th day, just all of a sudden, boop, next day you show up and the little plant came out. They take a while for them to germinate. It needs to start growing. So after a while, if you notice, any one of these little cups will hold 6, 7, 8 plants, and some don't hold any. So in about a week or 2 weeks, they're gonna take with a little pin, it's a little metal wire, they're gonna start taking out, it's called rallying, in Spanish we call it rally. Take out all the little ones and just keep the best one. So now it's all about survival, the whole time is about survival. The plants will be here until about 45 days. Mm-hmm. The plant's gonna get to about this big, and you've seen the pictures when it gets pulled out, and the seed, the root itself, it wraps around the soil, so you bring out the whole cup. Sadly, we transplanted a couple weeks ago, so we don't have any tobacco, and it just depends on the weather. Normally, you would see tobacco that's big, and we see tobacco right in the drying and the curing barns. We're not gonna see that this trip. We had, when the first seed bed was ready about 60 days ago, there was a huge storm. So all the seed beds were ready, everything was ready to go, but the fields were all flooded. We had a storm that lasted 4 or 5 days, so they had to throw all the tobacco away. So now you're gonna see tobacco that was planted on January 11th, January 12th, which is only a couple weeks old, but you see how quickly that tobacco grows. And we'll get to see it as well. I've been watching that progress the whole time.
So, hi, my name is Carlos Andres. I'm living in Switzerland. I'm since 25 years now in this fantastic world of cigars. In the meantime, I have my own company in Switzerland called Cigar Mundi, importing, distributing cigars in Switzerland. And I have the honor to represent also the brands of Christian Eiroa, and trying to find new markets, mainly in Europe and Middle East, just to find good partners and selling Christian Eiroa cigars, yes.
Sold out.
Good business people you have. Sold out.
All right, tobacco barn or the curing barn. This whole structure only holds about 1 acre, 1.5 acres of tobacco. It's costing right now these about $50,000 to $80,000 US to build. They're super expensive to build because there's so much wood that's being used. Mm-hmm. So tobacco is going to sit here for 45 days. It's trying to go through a different process. You're trying to get rid of all the green, the chlorophyll. You're trying to cure, and you're trying to dry the leaf at the same time. But weather is crucial. You have 45 days. Normally it's 45 days you're going to hang it here. But you do want to turn the barn a lot faster. So weather and how you climatize the barn is everything. Harry was asking me something, why do we have so much insulation? The reason for the insulation is because we have to control the weather. Already you've been here, you notice how cool the temperature was at night, and now how hot it gets. And what happens is when we have, you see the vents up there and all the way in the back, this is called a calfrisa. What it is a heating system and a moisture system that keep feeding inside the barn to make sure we keep the same climate. So temperature goes up during the day, at night temperature goes down normally, and the process stops. By this we keep the same weather all day long. So from 45 days we go maybe 36 days, 37 days. We're able to control a lot more. You get a very dry day, you get a very moist day. The weather is very it goes up and down like that, especially now. The last tobacco gets picked in late May, rain starts early June. So whatever tobacco is sitting here from late May is going to have different conditions than the tobacco gets picked up now. So we have to make sure that we protect the climate all the time. By controlling the calfrisa, the moisture, it gives a more consistent product in the end, which is really what you want. You want to make sure everything is the same no matter what time of year you picked it.
It's also very, I mean, they enjoyed very much the kitchen, the Honduran kitchen, having this, some kind of private cook. It was really fantastic. All the details, I mean, all the team.
Not every 2 hours.
Did you guys notice that the soil was real flat? Do you remember? I mean, you can go see it on the way back. But anyway, the soil was pretty flat. They come with the tools and they start mounting soil over the stem, the stalk of the plant. Because, like I said, they absorb a little bit of nutrients from there also. But also, if there's rain, unexpected rain, the water can filter through a lot better there. It doesn't compact the soil. Because when rain is flat, it'll compact the soil. When the soil is compact, they can't get any oxygen. And by doing that also, you're moving the soil. The root itself doesn't go past 6, 8, 10 inches maybe. So the root is not a very strong root. Not like you would think of a tree or something else. Tobacco has pretty lazy roots. So by moving the soil around, you let the tobacco get more nutrients and get more oxygen as it starts growing.
These 3 days I just got a lot of feedback from our partners, you know. Some of them I know them really since many years, so they are like friends. And they tell you then also the truth, you know. It's and all are really satisfied, impressed, surprised. It was fantastic these 3 days, really. I mean, a lot of details. I mean, the first day you just check in, you go to your room, and you have a fantastic box, even with your name. Then the shirts we got yesterday evening, a lot of details.
It does. Notice how the wind is turning the leaves over right now. So what the plant does when it's suffering, she starts eating more to get tougher and become stronger. And that's really what you're looking for. We like our cigars with body. That's what you're seeing it happen. And I'm glad you can see it happen right now. It's a windy day. And it's very common for us to get days like this. So it's sunny and it's windy. The plant also, we let it go. You want the soil to be dry. You want to really make the plant work, because when it's really dry, she forces her roots to go deeper into the ground, thus finding more nutrients and more oxygen in different areas. What makes my father so incredible in what he does, he's 86 now, so at his age, he doesn't care about money. He wants absolute perfection. There's no business decision with anything that he does. First to him is the end result, because now he's like, hey, you know, I want my last 5 crops, my last 10 crops to be the best I ever had, and I want to be remembered for that. So his thing is legacy and producing tobacco. That's so good. But the tobacco plant, when it starts growing little plants off the side. They're called suckers. So we're always tearing those off, because all they do is steal nutrients. If it's an Habano type variety, when the flower starts growing, it's called topping. We get rid of the flower. So all the nutrients now don't go to produce seed. All the nutrients go to make the leaf bigger and stronger and wider. And then as the tobacco starts growing, you start priming, which means you start taking off the leaves from the bottom. If you take off 3 leaves, those are 3 leaves less that you have to feed, and so on and so. What makes the Eiroa Dark such a great cigar is that I use the top leaves. The top leaves eliminate everything from the bottom. All the nutrients go to those top leaves. But those top leaves have already been there for a while. Dealing with the sun, dealing with the wind is very strong. They're very thick. Very hard to get wrappers out of those top leaves. Very hard. So when you get out of 1 acre, maybe 15, 20 kilos. But I also want you guys to notice how the soil changed from over there. Now the soil is different here. And then you just cross the street and it's different soil already. 2 or 3 days older.
2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
But it's the 98 thing, the hybrid.
But you know, the way they designed the 98
Okay.
is that it's able to produce its own seed, and you're able to reproduce it.
All right. Okay.
So it's not inherent.
It's always the same
Yeah.
state of development.
And one thing I learned was rocky soil is actually better, because when the day's over, the rocks still hold temperature, so the tobacco plant grows even at nighttime. And you can see here, it's just 2 days older, but it grows an extra hour, 2 hours.
I mean, it's impressive. I mean, I know Christian probably since the year 2000, 2008, more or less. At that time, I was working for Davidoff, and they were selling, the family Eiroa were selling Camacho to Oettinger Davidoff. So I know Christian since around 15 years.
Buenos días. Buenos días. They use it to cut the veins. Thimble. Dedal. Ay, ¿tenía uno repuesto?
Sí.
Ah, tenía dos. Okay. One thing that we do differently, I don't know if they changed it since. Actually, they have changed it. Before, I remember Dominican, this is called frog stripping because it looks like a frog, right? So, before, Dominican, we strip it all the way up here, all the way down. I think now Dominican does it the way we do it. Obviously, you're getting rid of the stems. For the, you don't want that inside your cigars. We still get some once in a while, but the higher you cut, I think you lose a lot of nutrients, a lot of taste, and a lot of flavor. So that's one thing that Hondurans, we've always done it this way. And like I said, I think Dominican switched to this kind of system. For, when you grow tobacco, you're always growing wrapper. You want wrapper. Why? The price of wrapper per pound, right, is $35, $45, $65 per pound. The price per fill is $8.50, and it costs the same. So obviously you're always looking for wrapper. That's why a lot of these seeds were developed also, because they produce a lot more wrapper than before. So you're going to see all different piles. Some of it was, a lot of that we're looking was probably mismanagement and fermentation, because when the tobacco is in fermentation, it's there for six, 7 days each time before you turn it. Or maybe one day there was too much rain, and it was naturally moist like this, and maybe the rain was on Friday. So it wasn't until Monday that they came in and said, "Oh my God, we got to flip this over because it had too much temperature very, very quickly." Sadly, we don't have any wrappers being sorted now, which is my favorite part when you're sorting the wrappers, because the smells are just incredible, man. I get these nice smells out of that, and that's where I get a lot of my ideas for blending cigars. But we'll see it now in fermentation. We'll see it in bulk. Anyway, so stripping, she's doing seco, she'll do ligero, viso. There are 5 different types of tobacco. You have volado, which is almost transparent, seco, viso, there's ligero, and then medio tiempo. Medio tiempo is thick like leather. So usually all 5 primings, and it's from the lower part of the plant to the highest part of the plant. The lower it is, the thinner the tobacco is going to be, the higher it is, the thicker it's going to be. And in fermentation, it's thinner tobacco will take 2 or 3 months to ferment. Thicker tobacco will take 12 to 18 months to ferment.
No, it's the second time. I just arrived 1 year ago. I was here the first time. I visited all the plants of CLE. Last year we were together with the US sales reps, so it was a fantastic time.
At the factory? Yeah. We'll smoke the rejects, broken ones and stuff like that. So what we do here is a test. Of course, you want to see the taste. And we'll do it on Tobacco Barn also. You want to see the taste, but you also want to see the burn. You want to see the coat of the ash, and you want to make sure that it's not burning with an edge. And that gives you an idea when the tobacco is finally fermented. Because sometimes maybe it smells the way you want it to smell, and you think it's ready, but then you have to see how it burns. Because maybe it's not going to be perfectly ready. And here's a good chance for you to see what kind of difference the wrapper makes on the blend. For it. Now this is second priming. The best wrappers are usually 3rd and 4th primings. To my taste, my father's taste, second priming. He likes 2nd and 3rd. I like 3rd, 4th, and of course 5th priming. When you put the bulk up, it'll start pressing down, and see how the leaves are already squeezed down. So this thing, in a few days, it'll be all the way down in here. Usually it'll be in bulk about 7, 8 days each time. And what tells the difference is how much temperature it has and how much moisture still has left. The tobacco is on the top will go to the bottom. The tobacco is on the outside goes on the inside. That's the simple. There's no real scientific method in how it's done. Good man. There was a company kept saying double fermented or triple fermented, and stories like that used to really upset me, because you try to tell people the truth and how things really are done, and it's tough to compete with these Mickey Mouse stories. Yeah, my father likes to ferment tobacco all the way, and it's a big difference between him and I. You know, I think I like to get it to about 85-90% because I like body, but he doesn't like cigars with body, which is really why we're able to work well together. Two different types of productions using tobacco from the same farm. Does everybody here blow the smoke out their nose when you smoke cigars?
Of course.
Everybody? Does anybody not blow smoke out their nose when you smoke?
Yeah.
When tobacco's been sitting, ammonia gets caught up in the middle. Okay, so we used to have a system where people would shake the tobacco like this just to air it out. And what the system would do is, first it was extremely slow. Number two, if you touch this tobacco, it was already a little dry, they would break a lot of leaves. So my father invented a system back in the 1990s, these barrels. And these barrels release a lot of ammonia in that room, so you're gonna go in a room and it's very, very strong. Just breathe in and out your mouth, you'll be fine. What it does is the barrel goes around, it opens the leaf, it's called the hand of tobacco. It opens up the hand of tobacco, whatever ammonia is trapped inside gets released and then comes back around. I personally believe that, again, this is just my personal theory, that some of the ammonia sticks in the tobacco on the outside and it evens it out, but most of it, it'll release it. Because there's no ventilation, there's no vent in that room, it's just tobacco, getting the tobacco from inside. So I have to think that some of the ammonia sticks back onto it. So we'll walk in there now, you guys will begin to understand it. If you really want to know what it's like, bro, air out your nose, then it'll be a whole different story.
Breathing in the mouth doesn't help.
What you're doing after it goes into pilon, once or twice, you get rid of all the moisture. You put the tobacco here and you're gonna air it out on these trays. You wanna get it so it's dry enough, not too dry that it's crispy, but that it's dry enough so you can pack it inside the bale. And now we'll see how the tobacco is packed inside the bale. It gets laid out here, and then the next room is how they actually make the bale, which is a pretty cool process. Okay, so the process here is gonna be a little different, and that's filler being packed. We're not gonna put the paper on top. And that's where they sew it all up, and that's it. Then once the tobacco is in the condition from here, it goes to the bale. You can age it for 100 years if you want to, or 300 years without exaggeration. Tobacco has the same qualities as paper. If you keep them in the right moisture, right humidity, right everything, it'll last forever. For the tobacco, for the cigars for like Eiroa First 20 and the Eiroa Classic, I do age the tobacco about 3 years or 4 years. I keep it in a bale because I want it to be, when I first came back into a business that has such a reputation for full body cigars, I wanted people to trust me, and I wanted to come out with cigars that were just medium body. And then that's when I got excited with the dark. I could finally start making full body cigars again for people to enjoy. And unfortunately, I can't make that many of them. But we do sit in the tobacco for 3 or 4 years for that precisely because it tones down the strength. But for the dark, I don't age it very much. You know, from the dark, it will probably go from here straight to the factory.
Yeah.
All right, this is all done by hand. It's not a machine. When you look at it, it always impresses me how even they do every single one of them. Even inside the box, that the customer's able to get that first impression when he opens up that box, because I think it's part of delivery. Something that I always talk about a lot is somebody that goes to a cigar shop doesn't go to buy cigars. That person goes to a shop to escape. He or she wants some time off, time to think, time to relax, time to meet, time to whatever. It's our job, our responsibility, and as good partners to you guys and your customers, is to do our job. And our job means that every time that you recommend one of our cigars, that the cigar is always going to make you look good. Because imagine, and I'm sure it's happened to you before, you recommend a cigar and somebody goes, hey, why'd you recommend that cigar, man? This thing was terrible, it didn't draw, or a million different excuses. You know, one thing about the cigars, they're always going to be consistent. They're always going to match inside the box, because this tray is going to have a different color from this tray. All right? There's a threshold to the colors. So all the 6s have to go in one box, all the 7s have to go in one box, all the 8s go in one box. But never a 6 with an 8 in color. I mean, does that,
Right.
hopefully that example makes sense.
Right.
Because tobacco is going to give you different colors. We've seen the filler, you've seen the different tobaccos when it's being processed. Tobacco does have different colors, so we just have to make sure that everything matches and it looks real nice, real clean. They are the last ones that see those cigars before your customer sees that cigar, that box. So whatever she does is, whenever I haven't seen it, you trust that the cigars look good, but they understand their responsibility. So when they open this box, all the cigars are gonna be perfectly matched. They're gonna look just right. Buenas tardes. Grazie.
What do you think?
Let's see what we got.
But on the
That was the worst speech ever. You do much better.
Nah, listen.
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of talking. I want to hear other people talk.
Me? So I take the words from Stefano that we are all family, and that's true. There are some people here in the room I know since 25 years. Dana, for example, since 25 years.
15,
Wojtek,
20, 15.
15, 20. Hans, where is Hans? So we are really family, and I would like to thank really the organization. Alexandra, thank you very much. Christian, of course. Rupert also. Really, these 2 days already, what we have seen. Really, thank you very much. It's impressive. Salud, amori, pesetas! It's really amazing what they have done in this last 10, 12 years again. I mean, they sold Camacho during a certain time. They were no more in the cigar business. And I think they started again around the year 2011, 2012. And what they have done in this 10, 12 years, again, it's really huge. It's really amazing having, again, all these brands all over the world.